Life gives you a million reasons to make excuses that get in the way of what you truly want.
Being a business owner, spouse, and mom can be a recipe for straight chaos, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it anyway. I'm Chelsea.
And I'm Laura.
We're two best friends who catch up through the podcast
and talk everything to do with this messy but fun life of entrepreneurship.
We are back for a third episode, and today is a gong show. We're both like, if we could have just given an excuse not to do it today, we probably would have, but we're a frazzled mess, and we're just going to get through it because
I actually totally almost canceled on you. Last night at midnight, I was like, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know if I can do this today. But I'm glad that we just stuck to it, and here we are.
We're just going to see
like
what
just
today.
Basically our motto, do it anyway.
That's right. Today we don't really have an overall topic. We're actually going to answer some of the questions that you guys asked us when we were going to start this podcast. I still already forget what I wrote down for answers. So anyways, we're going to be interesting.
We're going to give it a go.
Yeah. What did you do this week? If you can even remember. I think it's one of those weeks where I'm like, what did I do?
Oh my gosh.
This past week. We went to Yogi Bear.
This past week.
Yogi Bear.
Yes, that looked so fun.
Yeah. It was.
RJ looked like he had a blast.
He did. And as much as he's go, 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 so clearly it wasn't like relaxing in that aspect, that campground makes it so easy to bring kids to. I feel like everybody, like he is going to hurt himself less than he would somewhere else. Hopefully.
Right.
I mean, obviously he could, but I just feel like there's more leeway. Everything's nice and flat. There's a million things for them to do. People are very mindful that there's a lot of kids there. So I don't feel like anyone's racing around the, yeah. So it was easier that way than other places we've gone. So definitely a good weekend. Yeah.
We went, I just remembered this weekend. I don't remember last week very much because I'm a mom and I'm tired. But this weekend we went out for one of my best friends and my business partner, Jenna. It was her birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So we went out for her birthday to a really nice restaurant, one of our favorites around here, at the Ross Mount. And yeah, I just had way too much fun. Way too much fun. And like, this is a trend lately, and it's so weird because I don't know. I guess it's like
you don't get out much, really,
right? And I had Cash. He's a year, so literally he just stopped breastfeeding.
Officially stopped. I didn't even know. There you go.
Yeah. So like, I guess I haven't really had that chance to just be like woohoo, and I've made up for it the last couple weekends.
Yep.
And then it was Father's Day on Sunday, and I had promised Zach that I would get up with the kids so he could sleep in. And I definitely regretted the decisions from the night before. And it was a rough day. It was a rough day.
Yeah. You fell off the bandwagon with our little Laura, and I have been going back and forth, like trying to eat healthy and like send each other pictures of what we're eating. And she's like, yeah. This was
Sunday I ate everything to try to cure my hangover, like all the greasy food, all the treats. I'm like, this will surely cure me. No, none of it was really working, but it was all good and we did have a good Father's Day too. I don't remember. I went to my dad's house, like took the boys over to see my dad. Zach got to have a nap with Cash because I just wanted 2 out of 3. Yeah. And then he went golfing in the afternoon. Zach did. So I had all 3 boys. And then we went to like a little family thing out at, so it was fun.
Like Yogi Bear, and Ben asked for Crocs for Father's Day. So he got them.
Ben asked for Crocs?
Ben asked for Crocs. He is wearing,
this is great. This is great. Oh my gosh. Arlo just got camo Crocs at Costco.
Oh, it's like a thing. My cousin's camp, they like the Sweens, they all wear Crocs. So he was there and he was like,
my gosh.
If you want to know what I want for Father's Day, I want Crocs. And I expect that I will have them. Okay.
Oh my land.
He loves them. He's been wearing them ever since. And that was his Father's Day weekend.
Wow.
Another fun little swag stuff for his business, but
I can't wait to see him in them on our Moncton vacation. He better bring them.
100% he will be wearing them. We should put Zach some. Both their feet.
We should. And Matt
they're huge. It's not like, everyone else is wearing them. I'm like, Ben, you realize you're like size 12 Crocs, like not a size 9, right? Like,
anyway, he must look like a platypus. Like,
and
I don't even know.
Really they don't look bad.
They don't look that big.
No.
I just find like the toe of the Crocs is usually so wide. So on a big one, you'd expect it to look like
Ronald
really big. Yes. That's a better description than a platypus. I don't know why I said a platypus. I'm thinking of their beak or their mouth. What is it?
People aren't going to be able to they're like, oh, we can't get into this episode.
We can't get into this one. Yep. Moving right along.
Now what is our first question?
This is a hard one to unpack, honestly.
You say the question this time. You read this one. What's the first question?
So, being a working mom, like, how do you basically balance being a working mom and mom guilt, mom life, and mom shamers, all the mom stuff in general? So, yeah, like I feel like this could be a whole episode. I'll try to condense some of my answers.
So another time.
Yeah. But like, I almost think in general, it's hard to find balance of being a working mom. I think that that's a little bit of a myth. Personally, that's my own thing. But I guess some of the stuff that I am trying to implement so that I do better at the balance is like time blocking, using my time when the kids are in daycare more wisely, and having that like mindset that it is okay to put my phone away for X amount of time, even if it's just a couple hours, and plan like very set activities with my kids so that I don't have that mom guilt of doing nothing with them. Right.
Which is so much easier in certain industries than others, because I don't think I've ever quite used the phrase like, oh, I put my phone away.
Put my phone away.
I do for like if we go out to supper, or like if I'm attentively like doing something with RJ and I know I've already checked my phone before. But to be like, hey, I'm going to go to the park for a few hours and just leave my phone home, I would have more anxiety thinking about my darn phone, that I would be less present with him than if I just had the phone in my pocket and knew it wasn't going crazy. Yeah. So that kind of works differently for everybody. I love that you can do that.
I still take it with me, but I see, I have all my notifications turned off. So I do not get my Facebook notifications.
Not me.
And I do not get my Instagram notifications because I don't want to see them until I have the time to open that app and get into it.
You're so much better at that than me. I think the problem is, for balance in my head, is that I think I'm pretty known for with my clients. Maybe they don't think of it this way, but I feel like a big part of the reason why I work with a lot of people is like, they're like, oh my gosh, you responded so quickly. And I don't think that I need to do that while I'm right there with RJ, but I do want to make sure I clean the slate, check all my messages, go do something with him where then I can like mindfully put it away. I'm not talking like half an hour. I'm saying if you were going and you're
right, for a whole day.
Like I can't be
like 4 hours that's excessive
for me. An hour is fine, but it also depends on what's going on. Because if I'm in the middle of presenting offers in an hour and I know there's going to be a bunch of inquiries, like, I don't know. It's hard to explain as a realtor, like, because you're on so much, you have to, that comes to my next point after, like, whenever you're done wrapping up what you were saying. I have my little tip, I guess, for realtors.
Well, I have I broke this down into each point. So like that was my first one about being a working mom. I just think that it's hard to find the balance. Like, I think that there's a lot of times in my business where I feel like I'm killing it at my business and sucking as a mom. Like I feel like I'm dropping the ball as a mom. And then it will be flipped where I feel like I'm being super present and an awesome mom and more attentive and more patient and all those things. But then I feel like my business is slipping. So I really I don't know. That's not like a positive, woohoo, you go, you got this, girl. It's like, no, it's hard. I don't really feel like there is a perfect balance.
I don't think there's a perfect balance. And I guess I'll just say my point now because mine's like very on trend with what you're saying. I think I'm fortunate that I built my business up before I had kids because I could see how overwhelming the balance would be for someone who's just getting into the industry and have kids. I feel like I can predict my business and control my business a lot more now than before. So I know when there's peaks and valleys to the market. I know when it's normally slower. I know to plan around if I can literally warn Ben, like, hey, I've got a few things happening this week. It's going to be busy for this period of time. But then I make up for it when I know it's not going to be busy.
Exactly.
So I didn't really realize this until now, but I think that I've gotten pretty okay at the balance. I'm not saying nothing will ever be perfect. And there's always times where it's uncontrollable. And that's when I feel like I need to be like SOS. I need help from my team. I need to pass a few transactions, like bring people on those transactions. And that happens when it's like, this is past the point of managing. But again, it comes down to me being like, okay, I know myself. I know my business. I know if I take on this much right now, I can't maintain having that balance. So I think it takes time, and don't be afraid to reach out to people who have been through that in your industry that you trust. Like I've had other realtors, and I think I've reached out to other people too before I had a baby, or like, how did you do this? Or what did you think of when you were doing that? Or how many times did you get help? Or so you'd be surprised, even if people are in our industry, it's like pretty like everyone's competing, but like, I think that kind of goes away when you're talking about your family immediately. Like I think so many women in our industry, even if you're head to head with whoever, you can pick up the phone and say like, do you struggle with this? What did you do with that? I know you've been through whatever. And and
they're more of an open book than like, what is your top marketing tip? Like that would be a weird one, but
generate this week. Tell me all your secrets. They're not going to tell you.
No,
but
that's a little different.
With that, I think that the women in our industry are pretty amazing when it comes to comparing notes on that. What are your other points that you had down?
Well, like the mom guilt one, I can honestly say, and this might be silly, but like I honestly still cry over this one. Because like I just said, I find there's times where I'm like bomb in my business and not so great on the mom side. And like I will get super overwhelmed. And then especially when I can notice one of my kids maybe starting to act out because they're not getting the same kind of time with me. And then I'm frustrated, so maybe not as patient with them. Right. And you have that at the end of the day, you have that guilt of like, oh, I wasn't very nice about this situation, and I didn't have this time with them, or whatever the case may be.
You have multiple kids. So then you're like guilting, like, did I spend enough? Did I spend my time fairly with my kids? And like, what are they going through something? Like, I think I'm going to have another level of that. When
you have,
I have another kid.
Yeah.
RJ right now, I think it is easier when there's one. Be like, you got your attention, you little,
right. And see where I think I struggle. Where I think I struggle the most with that is like Bo, my middle child. I don't really feel like I gave I didn't get as much one-on-one time with him as I did with Arlo. Obviously, Arlo's my firstborn. So with Bo, I didn't really like have that same intentional one-on-one time. And that's also when I decided like I'm going all in my business, and I'm going very hard and dedicated and strong. So when he was really little, I was working really, really hard and working a lot. So I carry a lot of guilt with that one, because now that Cash is here, I realized those things from Bo. And so I'm making changes with Cash, but I'm like, I don't get that time back with Bo, So I carry that guilt a lot.
But in hindsight, Laura, like, because you built that, your life is totally different for all of your boys in the future.
Or from now on.
Right. Like, I feel like being able to have more flexibility when they're in school and they're doing field trips, or if they're super into sports, like, I always try to remind myself where I feel like robbed of a mat leave. Like, yes, I could have paid into a mat leave, but that wouldn't have made sense business wise to like really let your business go like this. So I made the choice. And was it set up how I wanted? No. We'll dive into that a different time. What actually happened when I when I had RJ, but I always try to remind myself, like, because you didn't do this way, later in life, you're going to have very different options.
Different choices. Yep.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
So
it's the flexibility and the freedom that maybe even I don't fully feel yet. I do feel a lot more of it, that's for sure. But
yeah,
I know more and more is coming. So that's exciting. What else was I think that was really it.
Mom shamers, which I don't know if my account's not big enough or if I just simply do not care what other people
But
think.
you don't post a lot of mom stuff, right? Like we're not out there trying to give a bunch of mom advice.
That's so true.
I feel like
because
mom shamers come out more if you're trying to actively give out a ton of mom advice.
Yeah, that's very true. I guess
because I feel the same. I don't have a ton of them either.
No, but what I do find is when they're in the newborn stage, you get a lot of unsolicited advice.
1000%.
And you're very emotional at that time. And I remember while I was breastfeeding RJ, like not physically, like in that moment, I just mean the time.
In general, yeah.
There is something, and I'll get way more into this on the podcast if I ever get pregnant again, but there is a time where your brain is not the same. Like I'm very used to like, I don't know. I'm a very sensitive person to certain things, and I cry over commercials and family shit and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But in business, I'm kind of more tough love to the point, you know.
Yeah.
I don't. But after I had RJ and that time that I was breastfeeding for 6 months, like I was an emotional wreck. Like I was like, where's my brain? Is it ever going to come back? I can't be trusted to make business decisions right now.
Oh my land.
And sometimes people would say shit to me. I'm like, and I don't even know why, because now all I think is in order for your opinion, and I don't mean this in like a rude or anything, but for anybody, in order for someone's opinion to truly affect me, number one, you have to be like in my heart anyways, like a part of my life where like we care for one another. And number two, you have to know enough about me to even have the right information to make a judgment. Because I think people get so offended when someone random says something to them. But in my head, I'm like, they don't even have all the information. How could you possibly be offended? Because they it's not, I don't know.
They're not in your shoes. They don't know.
Right. So like,
they just don't
have
know.
To be like, okay, like whatever.
Yeah. Like I just kind of said, ignore them, kill it with kindness, like move on. Bye, Felicia. If you want to block them, like do whatever you need to do to deal with mom shamers, because they're out there. There's shamers for everything, for business, for mom life, for your relationship, for anything. There's shamers out there. So
that's how I
don't want to hear them. Ignore them.
Or if you're strong enough to just be like, does this person know me? Are they coming from a place of love? Do they have all the information? No. Okay. Well, I don't really care. But it is hard when you're a new mom, you're all emotional, and you're actually questioning yourself every day. Like, am I doing that right? Did I pick the right thing? There's too much information. So they're kind of feeding into your own self-doubt. So that's why it like affected me then. But in business, I'm just like, I can do business however I want. You can do business however you want. Like those things don't affect me because those opinions are like, well, we're not in the same force. So anyhow, I can't speak too hard on mom shamers, but because we don't really have a whole
we don't have them.
No. I think we're not trying to like run mom.
I've had like one comment and I didn't block the person or anything and didn't get into an argument with them. I just like basically applauded what they do and what they believe in. Cool. That works for you. And this works for me. Like, you know what I mean? And that really is what it comes down to is you have to do what works for you. And what works for your kids. Right. And it's pretty obvious. You can
everybody alive. It's just surviving.
Right.
Surviving.
Like we're just, exactly.
Safe and happy and fed, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. This one I think is hilarious. The next question is how to have a career and kill it at home. And I laughed pretty hard at that because I'm like, define killing it at home. Like, what does that mean? I'm wondering, like, what facade is out there?
Again, I'm just going to be like, I'm calling bullshit on this one, and it's a myth again. It's a myth. Just like being a working mom and finding balance is a myth, having a career and killing it at home, whatever that picture looks like, that's also a myth. Yeah. Like, I just...
that post out there that's like, we can't all look good at the same time.
100%. No. And then we throw business in there, right? Like, the house can't look good. My kids can't look good. I can't look good, and my business. Something's got to give here. So
I don't know.
I'm
trying to think if do they mean home life like your household? Do they mean home life like your relationship with your families and your spouse? I'm not sure which way they mean it, but what I can honestly say, the things that number one, the first thing I'm going to say is if I post anything about my house, consider that like a part of my job. Right. And I'm trying to make that a part of my job. So if you see pretty little things around my house, rest assured there's 15 things sitting right behind the camera that I shoved out of the way. Number one. I'm not
1,000%.
Doing it to be fake. I'm doing it to showcase, like, I'm very passionate about homes, home design, helping people create a space that they love. And that's me sharing that little piece with people that I connect with through my clients, through the internet, whatever. So, that's like one room at a time. Unless you come over for a party at my house, I'll spend a lot of time cleaning it up and
doing a big clean.
Whatever. That's for that. Yeah. But what I try to personally focus on, if this makes sense, is things that affect later and not today. So as far as like, that's what I try to think about when like thinking of skipping a workout or thinking of skipping time with your spouse or your kid, or like the things you need to make time for are the things that affect your life later. If your house is a mess, and while I understand, like I feel so much better. I get super overwhelmed and my house is messy. Sometimes I just need to clean my house to be like, okay, I feel better there. And now I can like mentally get ready.
Move on. Yeah.
Right. So I understand that part, but for a day in and day out, like just focus on the stuff that affects your future.
Yeah. Yeah.
That day.
Absolutely. No, I agree. My house is a disaster, like a disaster. I just feel like,
Before kids, I had a pretty clean house. Before I say kids, I have one kid. Just
Anyways, mine wasn't. I don't know. Yes, my main area, like I like to keep my main area quite tidy. I wouldn't say clean, but tidy. It really bothers me when stuff is left out on the countertop all the time, and that's where things always accumulate, and that drives me nuts. Like nothing makes me happier than a clean island, and it's literally the first place that compiles junk, and I just like
Ben wants to kill me because I'll just go put my purse right there.
Oh, I'm the one doing it too. Like
every bobby pin and everything, like just to make a point, he'll go pick up all the shit that I've left around and shove it in my purse. I'm like, thanks. So welcome for the 4 loads of laundry that I did. But he doesn't care about the closet that you can close the doors on. He cares about the island and my bobby pins.
And see, I'm kind of on that level. Like my laundry situation is absolutely absurd. And because we don't even have closets yet still. Anywho, so just like temporary shelving and a dresser. And it's just that is the section.
Like,
no, I know. But that stuff does give me like, I don't know. It does stress me out in the sense of sometimes when you go to get ready and you can't find anything and you waste so much time trying to find things.
Yep.
That is what I find like stupid and frustrating. But my thing is like, you got to get help and you have to lean on support. So if support to you looks like asking your spouse to do the dishes or asking your spouse to do some laundry, like, I guess this kind of goes back to the working mom thing too. I think it's so funny, and this is a touchy issue, so it'll be interesting.
I'm writing down this as an episode. I know what you're going to say.
It's so funny that years and years and years and years and years and years and years ago, like a long time ago, my mom worked when I grew up too. My mom and dad shared the household stuff, like pretty much 50-50.
Yeah.
So I just think it's so funny that even nowadays, there's still situations where it's kind of like that's the woman's job and that's the man's job, both sides. Like, I'm not saying it's all on the women, but I still feel like there's a lot of it that falls back on moms, like kids' appointments, the dentist, the doctor, a sick day, getting all the equipment for sports and and then certain house
totally into based on what you're saying. Maybe this is like kind of scared to put this out there, cancel culture and all this stuff. But anyways, I feel like Ben and I had to set very clear kind of intentions and boundaries because I wasn't going to have a mat leave. And we were kind of like, how are we going to make this work?
Right.
We need my income too to run this. How do we do this as a team? So we had to like strategize and make it there was like 3 days a week where like he would take RJ as an infant in the mornings, blah, blah, blah. I feel like it's harder when somebody has a designated time, a mat leave, because it instills to the man, and this is not the same for everybody, but I've definitely heard from so many people all the same struggles. And I'm like, maybe this is a thing. They don't have to create that routine of shared responsibilities off the get. And then the mom's responsible for everything. And then she goes back to work. And the man never really had, I should say the spouse, because it's not even the man. It's just the person who's not on mat leave.
The person that's
take parental leave. There's a lot of same-sex couples that have kids. What I'm talking about is the person who didn't stay home and went back. They got in the routine of normal life. And then all of a sudden, if the other person goes back to work, they
basically just have something piled on.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like maybe there needs to be a check-in point of making that plan when you're going back to work. Like, hey, honey, now that I'm going back to work, how are we going to do this? Kind of like how Ben and I did before RJ came, is like, we now need to make a plan. Maybe that's a thing that people need to do, because I'm going to tell you, it is a problem, because I've heard it from so many friends, from so many people on the internet.
100%.
Because it's a hard habit to break when they're not used to, and they probably don't even notice. Like, I don't think they think they're putting everything on you, but they don't realize how many things come with kids when their routine is fairly normal during the day.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
This next one's hilarious.
And I still am like, I don't have one. I guess I can share.
You read the question.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So everyone wants to hear all the gossip. They want to hear all about the crazy clients or any crazy stories we have in business. And like, I can honestly say, I was telling Chelsea, there's not really crazy Arbonne stories. Like, I don't have gossip and crazy clients. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like potentially it's because your industry, it's not like an Arbonne client. It's not like you have
I always say there's no lipstick emergency. Like, there's not someone being like, oh my God, you effed up my order. It's not the same as a purchase of a house, right? Like, I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll get it sorted out for you. Like, there's just not.
And there's not like another consultant on the other side of your deal fighting over the lipstick.
I mean, there absolutely is. There's times where people's businesses cross over, right? And maybe there's someone saying, oh, well, that was my client. And now a consultant on your team has her. And I'm just like, you know what? There's millions of people in the world that haven't tried Arbonne yet. Why don't you go and talk to some of them, right?
Yeah,
like, let's move on. One person isn't going to make or break your business. So we just need to move on from it. And I think too, like, one thing that my upline always said to me is there's no room for drama in your business. So if drama tries to sneak in, you squash it right away, because it will fester and it will create like a monster in your business.
And
so
a distraction.
We just don't have room for it.
Yeah.
So I think like that's just, we don't make the space for it at all. And it's a different industry. It is a different industry.
It's totally different.
For sure.
Because we could choose to like not let realtor drama affect us, but what we can't choose is how personal of an experience it is working with people through buying and selling real estate.
Yes.
And I've seen some crazy shit.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
I mean, obviously our stuff is strictly confidential, but like I'll tell a story from like a long time ago. Then Laura and I will tell maybe one of our stories from convention or something.
Conventions. Yeah.
One time, it'll be funny. I don't think this client will end up hearing this, but she might. And she probably might think it's funny now, but it really wasn't funny.
At the time, it was not that funny. No.
So when you're going on showings, this is back in a market where like you're not competing offers. So you can go back and view a home a few times and like think about your decision. Like no one else is in there like pushing you out of the way. I know it's right to even think about right now, but we're back in like a full-blown buyer's market. So we've been to this house, myself and my two clients. They love this house, but they wanted to bring their parents back to see it. Well, this house happened to be like in a neighborhood that was really close to other people in their family. So like I get there and like etiquette wise, like it's probably appropriate to bring like, you know, a couple people to show them the house, but like bringing the whole clan, it's a little bit inappropriate, but sometimes you're stuck in the situation. You're like, you know, let's just get it over with. So anyways,
I would assume most people would bring like, you know, a dad or
dads are always there. No, I'm just,
you know what I mean? But it's one or two people. It's usually one or two people. It's usually not like
seriousness. Someone you trust that is going to like come in and give like that knows you really well to give you that extra ounce of confidence, especially in your first home. So like professionally wise, absolutely. Like I see parents all the time. I used to tell my clients to bring the parents because you know what? I would rather your parents come in and give you that decision-making time together before getting into the transaction than them showing up at the inspection and be like,
why in the heck are you buying this house?
Right. That's not the right time. I would much rather them come in before and feel great about your decision. So that's not even where this is going because that happens all the time. But so anyways, we show up, both sets of parents are there. That's fine. But then the sister and their spouse, and I think there might have even been like their kid come walking down the street. So like we're going in, there's like 10 of us at least.
Wow.
So I go in and I'm flicking on lights and I hear someone coming down the stairs saying, hello, like, hello, what are you doing? Like as if we're breaking into their house. Like we have a scheduled time that has been confirmed. And then the seller is like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, oh my goodness, I am so sorry. Like we have a scheduled time.
She was home?
She was home. She was sleeping upstairs.
Oh no.
I've had other times where people were home. I always yell hello. And I did yell hello, but that must have woke her up and she came down over the stairs and she was super upset. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So I'm texting the agent being like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Your client's home. And I was like, okay, well, would it be okay if should we come back another time? And then the mom pipes up and she's like, no, we scheduled the time and we're going to see the house.
Oh my land.
Like I'm like, kind of like trying to be respectful to all parties. And this woman's like, well, I'm going to need some time. And she's like, that's fine. We'll wait. So like at this point,
oh my land,
my client's crying. The mom is like, we are seeing this house. We're awkwardly like, you know, going
standing outside waiting.
Appropriate. The seller said she had
You stayed inside?
I don't even know. I don't remember the details. This has like got to be like 8.5 years ago. Literally, this seller is like reading out her agent. Man. She always does this to me. Like she didn't tell me, and I know the agent, and I know she's very respectable. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like her.
Like her, right?
Something was going on, but it was miserable. Like honestly, we're walking around like robots. My client is upset and crying. The mom is like, absolutely no way. We are seeing this house, and we've got 10 people there. And the seller's home. So normally if you have 10 people there, you do not want the seller seeing that you have that. But anyways, that's one of my crazy stories. There's plenty others. Sheila was watching my business one time when I was away, and I guess the tenants that were living there during the inspection almost fought in the yard with my clients. I'm like,
oh my land. Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
About to throw down.
Anyways, I'm glad I wasn't there for that.
I think there's way more stuff in real estate, because I even think back to like some of the trainings and things that I would have been a part of, obviously. And you'd have people tell stories about like how sellers would leave on baby cams or nanny cams so they could, so they could hear. Yeah, especially now, because I find a lot of people have that kind of technology in their homes anyways for security reasons.
Yeah.
So like now it's even more so, and they can just watch it from their phone wherever they are. But like this was back when you had to still be within the range. So they would be talking about how like they'd be at their neighbor's house with the baby monitor and listening in on situations. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's so funny that like, I don't know. I just feel like, I guess because I was in the industry, I'm just like, when I want to leave this house, I don't care what the next person thinks of it. Like, I just care if they want to buy it or not. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's almost impossible not to, like, most people have at least that doorbell.
Yeah.
So that you're showing up, they're getting a notification. They can hear what you say. So you should be very careful. Even if you're not being, number one, you should be respectful of people's homes. Like that's been happening a lot lately where people are just, anyhow. But number two, like for negotiating, you should never, like you have to, I know it's something that you want to talk to your agent about in the house, but you almost should just like save it for after, no matter what, even if, and even if your realtor is going in and doing listing marketing, like obviously I'm really close to all the girls on our team and we can have a lot of fun. It's no different than you and I. So sometimes we could be talking about whatever while we're working, just like anybody does if they go to sit in the back room and have lunch or whatever. But you
might even just be catching up on your personal life, but you have to think about,
you have to be mindful of that.
There could be other people listening in on what you're talking about. So
exactly.
Because it's their home, it's their property. They can do that.
I feel like now that I'm thinking of it, there's so many other stories. However, but one I do want to tell.
Ours, the one from like the beginning of our life in real estate, or is this another one?
No, that's it. Like, okay. Laura and I, as we explained in the first episode, I think, like how we met, we're both working for Exit Metro at the time. Mm-hmm. And I'm like 19 or 20.
You were like, no, I think you were 19 because you had turned 19 and got your license. It was our first one.
It was our first one, but I don't think it was the first year. Anyways, I'm around 20 years old.
I think it was because this was in the spring. I know where it was. I'm not going to say all those details just because. But like, it was a conference of multiple. It wasn't just our office, guys. It was
a big conference.
The big conference, like where a whole bunch come.
Yeah, everybody comes from all different franchises,
places.
Mm-hmm. So we go to this conference, and
you're 19 or 20. I'm like 21, 22.
Yeah, we're very young. We're like so excited, and I think because we're both from sports backgrounds, like when I went on a trip. I'm sure it was similar for you. Our coaches were like, you are representing our team,
like team. Yeah. I was on a provincial team. So we had to, exactly.
If you were walking around with our brand on your body, you better behave accordingly. So I thought, this is a professional conference. You could say it with a straight face. This is a professional conference. Like we're going there, we're learning. And this is how I still do conferences. I take those seriously. I'm going in, I got my notebooks, whatever. So we get there and we're just like in La La Land, really enjoying this, get all pumped up.
And the training was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was great. We're kind of noticing like, not everybody staying in the room, whatever, throughout the day. And like, people like, I don't know, like getting real comfortable around one another. And then later on in the night, we're up at like.
Well, there's like a party, a kind of a welcome party celebration. Yeah. So people are obviously boozing at this point.
Yeah. Everybody's drinking. We're like having a blast. We're out on the dance floor. We're just like like we're at friggin' prom again or something.
I know, because you get to get dressed up. Yes, you get to get dressed up and like look all fancy, and we're like
a gala.
In what other jobs do you get to kind of like do this anyway? So that was really fun.
Yeah, so we're doing that. Then we're up, like sitting. I remember there was like we're sitting at the top of the stairs. There's this grand piano.
We're sitting there
bawling our eyes out like idiots at like 4 a.m. because we're realizing how many people are cheating on their spouses, and we're like, are our spouses cheating on us? Is no one like? Is this going to happen to us in life? Like, it was so normal. It is insane. Like, not to make anybody feel uncomfortable that has a spouse in real estate. I don't think everybody's like that, but it seemed that way on the trip.
But I've also talked to a lot of people in other industries, and it is very similar. Like and I always like, anyways, yeah. I don't think it happens a ton in Arbonne. I haven't witnessed it and seen it and been like, but we're 99% women going to a conference. Like, it's not the male-female mixture or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, but I have heard in other industries this isn't. Like in banking, I've also heard when they go away for like their banking conferences, it's kind of some similar vibes.
Sad. Yeah, but yeah, clearly we thought it was sad.
It was like a huge reality check. We were bawling. We were our eyes out.
So upset. And I don't know if we were just like disappointed. I think we were disappointed, but then started to get really insecure that this was just what people did in their adult life. Because we were coming into an industry that was our career. It wasn't just like a job. So we took it very seriously of like, this is the start of the rest of our life. Well, for me anyways.
Yeah.
So I was just like appalled that this was so normal. And then people would wake up the next day and go sit at the conference and be super chummy around people. And it was so obvious. Like, people weren't even trying to hide it. And we were like, oh my God. Anyhow. That's our crazy story.
That's the gossip, guys. That's the gossip.
This shit happens. There's a reason. I shouldn't say this, but there is a reason why, like, I love the atmosphere of having just our own office on the day-to-day basis, because there is a lot of drama that comes with real estate. And if you want to go get caught up in it and not make any money, that's a very real thing in our industry. People are disciplined.
It can be easy to do.
Be in an office and like stay in their lane and get their work done and know when they're going to an office because when you go to a real estate office, it's a bunch of agents and then there's other offices or bullpens, whatever. But for me, I would rather not even hear it to have that discipline and just go in and focus on my work. But that's why, because we learned very early, like this could go one of two ways, depending on how involved you want to get in this stuff or get dragged into it even when you don't want to. Not that.
Exactly.
Not
that part
extreme, of it. But just like the drama. Okay, we have more questions here. I can't wait to see what the future questions are now that we're opening up these can of worms.
There's also that story that we told. Who did we just tell that one to of me like breaking my ankle at convention? Not literally. Yes. Oh my gosh. Just again, living our crazy best life, dressed up in these beautiful gowns, dancing like lunatics, just Chelsea and I, like basically trying on stage and just trying to like literally ignore any attention. Yes. Anyways, I sprained my ankle really bad. The next morning we're flying home. We were in, where were we? Washington?
Yeah. We'll never actually forget that trip because we went on all the touristy things too.
Yes, it was so fun. We did the little river cruise and we did the monuments. Like, yeah, it was a really fun trip. But yeah, sprained my ankle really bad. Like it instantly started swelling up. And then the next morning we're flying home and I'm severely hungover again. This is a trend. Seriously. Like
shitty stories as if like you go out and do this all the time. They don't.
I know.
They're just like our memories together because we've had such a gap in between times that we see each other. So when we see each other, we do fun things. But this was a long time ago. I think this was a long time ago. About the fact that you're not a morning person and I am.
We were.
Mm-hmm.
And that morning was extra rough.
Extreme situation of that and just how I know that Laura truly just like
there was a group of us going home together, agents, and I work for the office. So like my role is a little more delicate. I was supposed to be nice to people. Chelsea's my best friend, had been living with her, all that stuff. But my ankle was huge. I'm trying to elevate it up on a stool in the middle of the airport hallway. So hungover, probably still like intoxicated, to be honest.
Saying this to Linda, like Linda Smartin, broker, who's the sweetest lady you will ever meet. And she's like, oh, let's all wait for Laura. And like, there was a few other agents there. And
there's like 5 of us or 6, 5 or 6 of us probably.
Going to the airport together to get home.
Going to the gate. Yep.
Yeah. And Laura sits down and she looks up straight faced and was like, please leave me alone.
Was it Donna that was like, well, can I get you anything?
Right.
Everyone's like, do you
dive into it? And I was like, no. She really wants to leave her alone. She'll be fine in a couple hours. Leave her here. And they're like, but we have to go. I'm like, she means it. Like, she doesn't need food. She doesn't need comforting. She doesn't want to talk it out. She's past that point. Let's just leave her.
Hightail out of here.
And sure enough, an hour and a half later, you make your way down
to the gate. Oh, my Lanta.
Oh my God.
That was a rough old go. Okay.
We have 2
back to the questions.
Left. I'm going to say,
and they're short. Well, not that short, but
like end it on a high note.
Yeah. We'll do number 5 first.
Yeah. Which is, what's your least favorite part of your business?
I don't have a lot of least favorites.
Come on.
I don't. I really don't. My least favorite part about this business at this moment is that most of my appointments right now are in the evenings. So I don't always love that because
now you're late. Like I'm in bed and you're up doing things. And I was thinking, I made it very clear to you, like I will not be recording podcasts at 10 o'clock at night. So
no,
sort that out.
Yeah. But it's like a lot of our business chats or launches and different things like that would take place in the evening. Not super late, but then a lot of our team trainings would be at night as well, because most people work during the day and do this as like a side gig. So you have to do those things in like the hours that most people are available.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the only thing that I'm like, if I could change a little bit, I would like to work more during the day when my kids are in daycare. I do a lot of the other work, like communicating, following up, all the other stuff in our business. I do that stuff during the day, but a lot of the physical, like chatting with people and hosting events, that happens in the evening right now. So
yeah, that's same for us.
That's it.
Evenings and weekends.
You work a lot of weekends.
Yeah.
And
evenings.
Not a lot, I guess, but
no, I've like worked in some balance. On my busiest day every single week, which is so weird. Everyone says like, oh, Mondays, Friday.
Your busiest is Friday?
Oh my gosh. Like not busiest as in like what I have on my plate that day, but inquiries happen so much on Friday afternoon.
Right.
It's like everyone
kind of getting ready for the weekend.
And while everybody else is planning their fun weekends, people are revving up being like, can I go see this? I would like to do this. And I'm not complaining because I love my clients. I welcome 1 million of you to inquire with me today.
Go ahead. Bring it on Friday. Anytime.
Don't give a shit if you inquire, because those are my favorite things. And that is what makes the world go round. And that's why I get to do this. So I don't hate that part at all. But what I'm saying is I've planned for it because I've recognized that is now happening. But that never happened for years and years and years. So I don't know if it's the market, and it could be. Because I think people strategically put homes on the market before the weekend, and then they have cutoffs.
I feel like a lot of things are coming on Wednesday lately, like Wednesday, Thursday.
And then they like, if there's a cutoff, they do it after the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So like
it's forcing weekend showings.
Yeah. So all these little changes that have happened in our industry have now created other repetitive things that I'm not used to.
Right. But what's your least favorite part in business? Because I don't think that's yours.
I've got 2.
Okay.
My biggest least favorite thing is the constant fear and guilt that you're not being a productive. Okay, let me say this again. I want to actually read it.
Okay.
the constant fear and guilt that you're not being productive to keep up your income for years previous.
Right.
And then when there's quiet times, you're feeling like you're supposed to be working because you don't actually know if you're on par. Like our business, every single year you reset and you're starting from zero again. And it doesn't matter how big your book of business is. You still don't quite know how many clients are going to come.
Gonna bring.
What are we going into? Then you start looking at like people talking about recession coming and this and
economic forecasts.
And then through the pandemic, you're constantly like, is there a big shift that's happening? Do I need to hold on to everything? Do I have to take every client? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? So every year there's a different set of fears and guilt that like, am I going to have the same year or good enough of a year that I've had in the past? So you don't know if you should be working at that time or not working. Am I okay to take this time off or not?
Right.
And that anxiety hasn't stopped since the day I got my license. I am so serious.
That's great.
I have it today.
So like if you're riddled with anxiety, real estate might not be your jam.
If you're serious about this as a career or you don't have, like there are some people who, everybody does real estate for different reasons. So like some people are still doing real estate, but they have other sources of like income. Yeah. Like whether it be your spouse and you don't need to make a certain amount of money, or whether you've got a pension from other jobs, or this
and
is
you're
just
doing
like
this in your retirement
as a social thing. But if you're coming in here as your number one source of income to pay for your life, you probably have this anxiety. So that is my least favorite thing about this business is no matter how much you know and have learned, that's the one thing you can control it overall, but you can't perfectly predict it.
No. And we're both in a similar boat in that way. Cause when you're in a business that's 100% commission based, that's a real fear.
Business. It might be any business owner, I think.
Yeah.
Whether you're a content creator, whatever, like you're sort of like, how do I build up this income?
Your income is not a salary.
Right.
So if you're the creator of that income, it comes with that pressure and anxiety for sure.
Yeah. So sometimes people are like, how, what's your key to success? I'm like, high functioning anxiety.
I just stress myself the fuck out so that I work.
And then the money comes.
Yep. And then the money magically appears.
Please keep inquiring on a Friday. Anyways, no, that's my very
biggest least favorite
about it, but that is my least favorite thing. The other thing I'm going to say, and I don't ever want to sound negative, but at the same time, I've learned over the years, it's so hard in the beginning because you think if you're in customer service, you have to, if someone says jump, you say how high. Like I have to respond accordingly to whatever this person wants of me. I have to be perfect for every person.
Right.
What I really don't like, my least favorite thing, is when clients hire me and they don't trust me.
Right.
Or respect me. Why did you hire me? Like, please don't. Like,
yeah, we always say like attracts like. It's like, well, didn't you like something about me too?
So that's to my next point. I find if they don't follow me on social media, I'm not saying every person who doesn't follow me on social media that happens, but it seems to be a common trend that the people who don't follow me on social media, they're always the ones that like maybe you just didn't know me first, or maybe my social media gives me more credibility. I don't know. Like maybe people get to know me or know what I'm about, and then they have that instilled trust. But man, oh man, please do not start the process if you don't trust a realtor, or pick someone else, because I don't like that feeling, because I'm so used to all my awesome clients that want to work with me. Yeah. That when these come along, they trick you in the beginning because they seem whatever. And
oh my gosh, this is just like a relationship.
Oh man.
It's just like one. It's like they can make be like, I don't know,
a little bit.
Hide those things in the beginning. It's the honeymoon stage.
Best foot forward.
Yeah.
And I'm not perfect for everybody. I understand that I don't need to be liked by everybody, and not everybody needs to like me. but I just don't know why you hire somebody if you don't trust them. And then you're going to micromanage and override every decision. Well, it is their decision. And I always tell people that this is my guidance, but this is your decision. But when somebody comes back and interrogates me on certain things, I'm like, no, we're done.
Right.
So that's a skill that I've been working on and learning over the years. You don't have to keep contracts. You don't have to keep relationships. I would love to fill my time with all my awesome clients, which is the majority of the time, I will tell you.
Yeah.
But when those little, like, what do they call them?
One-offs.
Sour grapes. I don't know. Like when that person comes in and ruins it for the rest of them and makes every day miserable, it makes me feel like I don't like my job. And that is not the case.
And then it is hard to show up in those other ones because you're dealing with multiple people at once, multiple transactions, multiple listings. Like if you have that person present at that moment in your business, it's hard to show up as you 100% in all the other
energized
relationships.
And then
even though you love them and you're working well with all those other ones, you have like this weight on you.
Oh my gosh, it ruins your day. And then but the opposite effect happens too. I could be in a totally bad mood and then go out on showings for a few hours and after forget what I was even mad about because my clients have interrupted and made me
so awesome.
So much better. So I'm like, why would I ever work with
XYZ
couple over here when all these awesome people over here? Anyhow, I'm just saying, if you don't trust me, please don't inquire.
Right. Yeah.
But now let's talk about
this is the better one.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of your business?
I don't have a single favorite. So like, are you ready for a laundry list? Because I really, really do. Like, this is when I get so freaking stoked that I'm like, I found what I'm meant to be doing because I love all of these things so much.
Okay.
I love being able to work from wherever, like from my phone, come and see you in Halifax for 4 days and be like, oh, Zach, do you mind if I stay one extra day? Actually, it was 2 days and I added on an extra day. But like,
I convinced him. We were like, in between.
I already arranged the babysitters. Yeah. Can I stay?
Did he say that?
Yes, and you remember. So, but I love that freedom of being able to pick up and take my business with me, that flexibility and freedom in general in my business, make my own schedule, that all goes together. Being able to prioritize my family. I think as an entrepreneur in general, yes, there are times where you feel like that's like a delicate balance, but at the end of the day, family is number one, right? Mm-hmm. So like you can, if you absolutely need to, you can prioritize your family, right? So I love that aspect. And this is a really big one for me. And this is the one that gets Chelsea jealous from time to time. It's the community. Like I have made some of my very, very, very best friends thanks to this business, and being around like those type of positive, uplifting and encouraging people all the time, literally that are doing business alongside you. So
I did create that with the team, and I feel like those are basically my work family. But if you didn't create that, I think you guys have such a larger scale of everyone.
We have it irregardless of if your direct team is like that. Right. We have that. So even if you come in as a team of one and you don't have like this big team yet that is your community, you're jumping into a huge community of people that are already like that.
Everybody shares more easily as far as like information.
They want to see you win. They want to see you win.
Yeah, because of your structure, just like, it makes it more, everybody wants to help and teach everybody.
Yeah.
So that definitely is a big difference.
Yeah. And then the last two are conferences. I love our conferences. I love that it's that awesome balance of like getting away and having fun with your friends because your team feels like your friends and family, and also like going and pouring into yourself and like, you know, filling your cup up again. Cause I think that's so important no matter what you do for a living.
Yeah.
And then the very last one is my favorite thing to do is to help others. So like when I get a client that messages me and is like, oh my gosh, XYZ has actually changed my life. Like even this sounds so silly, but because I resonate with it so much because I struggled with skin conditions growing up. So like when I get someone that messages me and they've had a rough go with whatever it might be skin wise, and then I help them and get them on something that works for them. when they message me back and they're just like, you don't understand how much of a difference this makes in my day-to-day life. Like my skin's not stinging and red and blotchy and whatever.
Yeah.
Or I feel better because of eating well and like doing the nutrition plan. Like actually helping people is so fulfilling. Those little text messages make you so happy. And then on the flip side of that, helping people create this business for themselves and have that freedom, that is the best feeling ever. Like my best friend, Jenna, who was just able to walk away from her corporate career.
Yeah, I saw that this week.
Because I shared this business with her, like it literally makes my heart burst.
Yeah.
And when she was sharing that announcement with our team, like I was super emotional because she was like thanking me for not giving up on her because she took over a year to say yes. And she's just like, my life looks totally different now, right? Yeah. So yeah, hands down, that's my favorite part. Go ahead. What's your favorite part about real estate?
Well, I mean, I followed the question, which is, what's your favorite part?
Yeah. Well, shit. What's your one favorite part? Sorry, I have a list.
Because
but
I have to like have an Academy Award of like thanking all my clients. And anyways, I didn't do that. I quite literally just answered with
just one.
So mine's a little bit more.
Sorry, I get carried away.
It's okay. I love all of those things for you, and that's why I love Adams and Arbonne. And anyhow.
Yeah.
But mine's a little bit like mind trippy, I guess. My favorite thing is that you can, how do I put this into words? Well, I wrote it down, but like, I don't really know how to explain it. I think
you're like, does my sentence make sense?
Exactly. Does this make sense? I just think that it's crazy that you can make something out of nothing.
Yes.
Like, I think it's crazy that you and I, even, let's say as an example, we think these things in our heads, then we go out and figure out how to do it and then see if it works. And I feel like I think that's crazy. And I think it's awesome. And it is my favorite thing of being like, how do you just think of something in your mind and then think, how do I make a business out of that aspect? And I'm pretty sure that's the reason why I still stay so interested in my industry as a whole. Like it doesn't have to be my day-to-day that I'm super interested in, but I feel like it gives you the freedom to make it interesting by being able to do that. And I will say, Sheila's not on this episode and I'll probably reintroduce her when it happens, but I don't even know if she remembers this, but she came into my office one day. She was super close to Wayne, who was the broker at the time and who I worked for. Yeah. And she sat down and it was almost like she gave me the permission to use my own mind. And that day changed probably everything as far as like how I gave myself permission to grow a business the way that I wanted to. She looked me dead in the eyes.
Following.
She looked me dead in the face.
Previous ways.
Number one, she was like, I'm hanging around you.
And she's still here.
Like, I want everything, all of those things you're saying, you better keep telling them to me. And number two, she was like, you are smart and you can take all of these ideas that you're speaking out loud and make an incredible business out of it. You just have to not listen to other people and do it.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I think she kind of like fundamentally set the foundation for me to have that courage to do that in my business. She was like, you don't have to do it like other people. What you're saying is very smart and you need to do that. I'm like, I
love that.
Because
she like changed the trajectory of your whole business quite literally.
I would have listened to. I don't like, she just made me feel safe.
She gave you that permission.
She's so much like my mom that I think I was like, I better listen to her. Screw everybody else. I'm going to listen to her. And then in turn, listen to myself. And I think that's my favorite thing. In any business, you have the choice to create something out of nothing and go with what's in your head. And does it mean they're all going to work? No. But you're in the driver's seat and you get to choose every day. And we do choose every day. Like I feel like that's what we've done this whole time. So that's my favorite part. Creating whatever you want out of your business, no matter what you're buying, selling, throwing out there.
Doing.
Your choice.
Yeah. Yep.
So
100%. Oh, see, you did that just perfectly.
Oh.
That made sense.
Okay, good. Well, that's good that it made sense. I didn't know it was going to sound like I was out to lunch, but anyhow.
No, it didn't at all. It didn't at all. It sounded really good.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that was fun.
The longest we've talked yet, like over an hour. Oh my.
Holy moly.
Those ones were fun. I feel like
they
are fun. I hope we get more of those. I'm going to do some more polls on Instagram after this, like after people have a chance to watch some of these.
To dig into some of these.
Yeah, we did put our first one out, so that was good. Like we started.
Oh my gosh.
We waited till today.
So freaking scary.
To like record an intro. So the first one's just like us literally laughing.
And then we're just picking ourselves apart after.
Oh, I'm like, oh my gosh. I can make a drinking game.
I realized that I have like a real I realized that I have like serious resting bitch face.
Oh no. I definitely have.
Like I'm just like watching you and I'm like,
oh my gosh, we have to post that picture.
Like when you're talking. Which one?
I had it.
Oh God.
I'm not going to be able to have. I'll post it. Maybe I'll like throw it up on the screen of what I'm talking about right now. Remember that picture from my bachelorette party?
No,
you don't.
I don't remember.
Perfect. It'll be blackmail. We're both literally looking over at something seriously, and neither one of us could look more like a bitch ever.
Oh, I do kind of vaguely remember this because I feel like we were like 1000% RBF.
I don't even know what we were focused on, but it was apparently very serious, and we didn't like it.
We do not hold our emotions in very well. Like our faces show everything. It's good and bad.
A curse.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, I'm excited for this one to go out. And yeah, I agree. Like I'd love to have more questions because it's so fun actually hearing what people want to hear.
Yeah. And talk about.
Like, yeah.
I can't wait to see some of the comments.
Oh gosh. Hopefully we didn't. Yeah.
That realtors have had. Like, I feel like now I want to know, or any business, but like, what are your crazy stories? Like maybe inbox them to us. Or if you're open enough, just put it right in the comment section to make it extra entertaining for people.
Right? Exactly. Just let it all out.
Yeah.
Let it all out there.
Okay. Well, that's episode number 3. Done.
In the books.
Yeah. We'll see you guys again the next time.
On to the next one.
Okay.
Okay. See ya.